Hello, hello. I want to describe someone to you, and I want you to tell me if it sounds familiar. They've watched the videos, they've maybe bought a course or two, they know what wholesaling is, they know what the burr strategy is, they can explain a cap rate at a dinner party, and they have done almost nothing. Or worse, they've done a lot of things, none of which stuck, and they've got a graveyard of half started strategies behind them to prove it. That person is not lazy, they're not dumb, and they're not even underinformed. If anything, they know too much. They're stuck for a completely different reason, and it's the reason basically nobody mentions or talks about because there is no course to sell you for it. They're playing the wrong game, not the wrong market, not wrong timing, the wrong game for who they actually are. And today I want to show you exactly how that happens and why it's so hard to see from the inside and what actually fixes it. This one's useful even if you never spend a dollar on anything. Let's go. So here's the thing the real estate internet will never tell you because it's bad for business. There are something like 130 different ways to make money in real estate. We've come up with 132. Wholesaling, flipping, rentals, syndications, lending, notes, property management, development, and 100 more variations underneath those. 100 plus legitimate paths, 132 legitimate paths. And every single guru online is teaching exactly one of them. Their one, the one that made them rich. Now, nobody says this because the reason it made them rich is because it fit them. That strategy fit them, their personality, their risk tolerance, their wiring, their life. They found their fit, it worked, and then completely sincerely, unfortunately, they turned around and started teaching it like it's a universal law instead of a personal one. So you, the new person, show up with no map, and the loudest voice in a room is a flipper. So you try flipping, and it doesn't take. It feels like you're dragging yourself through quicksand every morning, but instead of thinking, maybe this isn't my game, you think something's wrong with me. So you quit, you find the next loud voice, who's a wholesaler, and you try that, and the cycle repeats. That, my friends, is called shiny object syndrome, or as I call it, SOS. And boy, you need to send out an SOS signal if this is happening to you. Everyone describes it like it's a discipline problem. You just need to focus and commit. But it's not a discipline problem. You're fine. It's a fit problem. That's all it is at the end of the day for the most part. You keep jumping in because nothing fits, and nothing fits because you picked based on who was the loudest, who attracted you the most, not based on who you are. You were never given the one piece of information that would have made the choice obvious: yourself. So why can't people just figure out their own fit? You know yourself, right? You would think this would be easy, but in reality, it is brutally hard. And there is a proper, real reason for it. The first problem is we don't choose based on who we are. We choose based on who we admire. Strategies, that is. The careful, analytical person who would make a phenomenal private lender watches a charismatic flipper on YouTube and thinks, I want to be that. Not because flipping fits them, it actively might not, or doesn't, but because the flipper looks like the kind of person they wish they were. HGTV. Aspiration quietly overrides wiring, and you don't even feel it happen. The second problem is that your blind spots are, by definition, invisible to you. They're blind. Heads up. That's what makes them blind spots. The overcautious person can't see that their caution is the exact thing strangling them. They just experience it as being irresponsible. Just like the impulsive person can't see their impulsiveness, they experience it as taking action. You cannot diagnose the thing you're looking through. And the third problem is the most human one. We are terrible at predicting how we will behave under stress with real money on the line. You can swear up and down that you've got an iron stomach right up until it's your actual savings in a deal that's going sideways at 2 a.m. And suddenly, you discover you're a completely different investor than you thought. Everybody's a conservative genius in a spreadsheet, but an emotional wreck in real negotiation. So you've got three forces working against you at once. You pick based on who you admire instead of who you are. You can't see your own blind spots, and you can't predict your own behavior under pressure. And guys, it's not a personal failing. That's just how humans are built. It's exactly why just know yourself, bro, is useless advice. Knowing yourself accurately is one of the hardest things a person can do. And almost nobody pulls it off by introspection alone. So if you can't think your way to it, what actually works? The same thing that works everywhere else humans have blind spots: an outside measurement, a mirror that doesn't flatter you. Think about how this works in other fields. You don't figure out your personality by staring at a wall. Psychologists built validated tests for it because self report alone is garbage. You don't guess your financial risk tolerance. There are actual research backed scales that measure it. Because what people say they'll tolerate and what they actually tolerate are two different numbers. Behavioral economists have spent decades cataloging the specific, predictable ways our brains sabotage money decisions: loss aversion, overconfidence, the way we hold losers too long and sell winners too early. This stuff is measurable, and it's been measured. It's just never been pointed at the question, what kind of real estate should I actually do? That's the whole insight. The tools to diagnose a person accurately already exist: personality science, behavioral profiling, validated risk scales, decades of behavioral finance. Nobody had ever combined them and aimed them at this specific question. So everyone kept trying to answer a measurable question by guessing. And once you measure it, the thing that felt impossible from the inside becomes almost focus from the outside. Your wiring points at a category. Your risk profile rules out the strategies that would have eaten you alive. Your blind spots, the ones you couldn't see, get named so you can actually watch for them. The decision stops being, which guru do I believe? And becomes, given who I measurably am, here are the few paths that fit, and here are the ones to stay away from. That's the difference between direction and noise. And it's the entire reason the thing I'm about to mention exists. To those of you who don't know, I am a developer on the RENA project. It's short for the Real Estate Network Association. And we built RENA just for this specific issue. It's to actually help people find direction and clarity in the real estate game so they can actually go out and take action. And my gosh, is it accurate. And I'll explain it plainly because it's the exact idea we've been talking about made real. RENA is a diagnostic. It's not a course. It's not a quiz. It's not somebody's opinion. It runs you through an assessment built on 5 validated frameworks: the Big 5 personality model, DISC behavioral profiling, the CFA Institute's investor archetypes, an established academic risk tolerance scale, and behavioral finance research. And all of that produces what we call your real estate financial fingerprint, a 4-part code that captures the category you're actually built for, how ready you are to move right now, your archetype, and your real risk profile. Then, this is the part that actually matters. It takes that code and maps it against all 132 strategies and tells you the handful that actually fit you, the ones to approach with caution, and the ones to flat out avoid because they would wreck somebody wired like you. It names your blind spots, the specific ones for you, so the invisible thing becomes visible. It tells you the kind of partner who'd cover your weaknesses and the kind of person you should be careful around. It flags your stress and burnout patterns before you hit them. And it lays out a 12-month roadmap so you're not just diagnosed and abandoned, you actually know what to do Monday morning. And at the end of it all, I think one of the most important things, it gives you the proper accountability tools to make sure that you stay on course. The honest framing I would give any friend in real estate is that you should not spend a penny on any course, guru, strategy, especially other people's money, until you know your real estate financial fingerprint. It's that valuable. It's something a business or real estate coach potentially couldn't even tell you in a year of working with you. And mind you, not because the courses are all scams, some are great, some are absolutely brilliant, but because right now you have no way of knowing which ones are great for you. The diagnostic is the thing that comes first. Direction before you spend, clarity before you commit. Everything else is guessing with your money. And what do we call that, my friends? Gambling. And smart people don't gamble with investment, strategy, and money. It's time. You talk to any wealthy individual, and what do they protect the most? Their time. And it's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. I've watched people pour years into the wrong game. The natural lender who forced himself to flip houses and hated every day of it. The careful, analytical person who would have thrived deploying capital, who instead burned out trying to be a hustler because that's what the internet told him winning looked like. The person who didn't just lose their own money, they lost other people's money, partners, and family because they were running a strategy that was never theirs to run. Those aren't strategy failures, guys. Those are identity failures. Somebody never told them who they were, so they borrowed somebody else's identity, and it cost them years that they don't get back. That's the actual tragedy underneath the real estate fail stories. It's not bad luck. It's not a bad market. It's people living somebody else's playbook until it broke them. And the flip side is the whole point of doing any of this. When someone finally sees their real profile, when the careful person gets permission to be the careful, wealthy, patient lender instead of a failed flipper, there's this visible relief. The work stops being war. They stop apologizing for the wiring and start using it. That's the moment this is all built for. That's also why there's a community attached to it where everybody already knows their code walking in. Because it's a lot easier to stay in your lane when surrounded by people who know what their lane is too, instead of a feed full of strangers all shouting their one strategy at you. So, what I actually want you to take away from this, whether you touch RENA or not, stop choosing your strategy based on who's loudest, who's the most attractive to you. Stop assuming the friction you feel is a character flaw, because it's not. All it is usually just a fit problem wearing a disguise. And before you spend another year, another dollar, or worse, someone else's dollar, get an honest measurement of who you actually are, because you genuinely cannot get there by vibes and introspection alone. Nobody can. That's not an insult. It's the human condition. Find your fit first. The money part is always downstream of that. And it's so much easier than everyone makes it look. For the person who's playing their own game instead of somebody else's. You've already got a personality and you're not getting a new one. The entire job is figuring out which game it was built to win. And then, for the love of all things holy, stop trying to play the other 131. What I'll do for you guys, I'll actually leave a link to the site in the description below. Check it out. There's a free quiz that only takes a few minutes. You can find out your first fingerprint code there, not the fingerprint code, but the first digit in the fingerprint code. Check that out. It's a great first step. If you guys do want to go through the full thing, I will also have a code there that's, I think, good for a month, or it might be a couple weeks. I do need to double check that. But plug in the code and it'll give you money off of one of the sections. Check it out. It'll be the best thing you've ever done for yourself in real estate. Whether you're new, whether you're experienced, it'll definitely give you a massive leg up on what you want to do over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. Start there. Then go build the thing that was actually meant for you. See you on the next one.